my daughter in Petaluma, and her two little boys were ill, and the whole time I was saying, oh, I'm not going to get sick. When, in reality, I should have been saying, I am well. So, all Spirit heard was the sick part. So, that's what happened. But that's what happened. Now I am announcing that I am well. So if I cough a little bit during the talk, please bear with me. So welcome again to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Michelle Ingalls, and Happy New Year! Happy New Year on this first Sunday in 2020. I love that it's 2020 because I think we can talk about having clear spiritual vision for our intentions for the coming year. Isn't that great? We can have 2020 vision in our intentions. And I like talking about intentions rather than resolutions, because resolutions feels like it's out there somewhere, and intentions are here. We set intentions in consciousness so that we can see them demonstrated in our lives. We know that we create everything twice, first in consciousness and then in form. So I prepared just kind of a very short message today because I would like to hear what your intentions are for this coming year. And not only what they are, but how empowered you feel through your connection with the divine and what that is to demonstrate those intentions in your life. So I'd really like to give us some time for discussion and conversation afterwards, after my short message. So if you've been around Centers for Spiritual Living for any particular amount of time, then you know that traditionally, January is Back to Basics month. That's when we go back to the very first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind textbook, and we review, we revisit, we ground ourselves in these foundational beliefs. And they are foundational. They're the beliefs that we stand on to structure a spiritual life. So that's generally what. Now, some of you, I'm looking around, looking at, I sounded like I just got turned off.
Well, I turned you down.
Oh, all right, am I too big? Sort of the nature, what's that song? I'm big for God. So some of you look like, I've seen you around here for a long, long time. I know you're veteran metaphysicians. And so you know that even though we talk about these basic spiritual traditions, they're not really that basic. They may be simple, and from an intellectual standpoint, we can wrap our brain around them, although I tell you, I still can't wrap my brain around an infinite God. I don't know about you guys. That just doesn't compute in my logical, conscious mind. But these basic principles that we talk about, these foundational spiritual principles, are deep. There is depth and complexity and power within them. Honestly, we could spend our entire lives just studying and practicing and exploring these basic principles. I've been doing it for 30 years and I don't feel anywhere near finished. I don't know about you. I still discover new things about my relationship with the divine and how to use this power, this creative power that's within me all the time. And it's a never-ending journey. I really don't believe that there's any end in sight. And a lot of it is because mastering these spiritual principles, as I was saying, is not an intellectual activity. These are principles that we embody, that we get into our subjective mind, that we resonate with, and they actually become a part of our body, a vibration, a pattern of thinking and feeling and being, an atmosphere that we live in. And that just doesn't happen overnight. And honestly, I'm not even sure it happens over our entire lifetime. It's something that we have to continually become aware of and awaken to as we move through life. So this month, we're starting a brand new month, and the theme for this month is getting grounded. I love that, getting grounded. It's the foundation of who we are. And today we're talking about in the beginning God. And as I was writing that topic, I'm thinking, there it is, God. Is that a trigger word or what? Culturally, that has a lot of stuff around it, don't you think? I know when I first started studying the science of mind, I did not want anything to do with that word. I took my first foundations class from Everettville Young in 1994 in Santa Rosa. And I remember that I was in this very large foundations class, and somebody in the class said, I just can't get behind the word God. And Edward looked at them lovingly and kindly and said, get over it. And I was thinking, well, that's kind of harsh. And in a way it is, but still, the idea of God, or the definition of that word God, has changed for me over the years that I've been practicing the metaphysics, but still, I prefer spirit, the all that is, the divine, anything but God, because still it brings up in me, and this may be true for you, or you may be just a little bit further along the path than me, where it still brings up a little feeling of separation, a little bit like something outside myself sitting up there in the sky, and I don't want that to be my experience of the divine, because I know that there is only one life, and that life is not out there somewhere, it's right here, right where I am. And that's what we're starting with today, is this idea of God. And I think that Ernest Holmes, our founder, had the best title, label, whatever you want to call it for God. He just simply called it the thing itself. How brilliant is that? There we go. He just called it the thing itself. And he said, the study of science of mind is a study of first cause, spirit, mind, that invisible essence, that ultimate stuff and intelligence from which everything comes, the power back of creation, the thing itself. And isn't that it? Doesn't that rest? It's just the thing itself. When I was in Petaluma visiting my daughter, my brother also lives there. And my brother is, I don't know, a couple of years younger. I have 4 brothers. He's the oldest of the 4 younger brothers. So we grew up together and we're pretty close. And I went to visit him, and we've always been able to go deep quick. Have you ever known anybody like that? You can just go be in the conversation. You get each other. So we were having this conversation about the nature of life and where we were in our lives and how everything is going. And we started talking. He was saying that he really believed that he was an atheist. And I said, well, if I had to depend on the old definition of God that we grew up with, because we grew up in a very traditional religious tradition, I'd be an atheist too. So we started talking about what my understanding of God is. And I was saying, when it's early spring and the trees have those brand new shoots, those little green, it's like electric green, and they're just pushing out, and you can tell that they are full of juice. They're full of creative juice, and they're just getting going. That's God. That's God for me. And he said, oh, well, if that's God, I can get behind that. But maybe I'm not an atheist. That's God. It is that creative energy that flows through everything, that flows in back of all of creation. That is God. That's the stuff. And it isn't out there somewhere. Actually, it is out there. But everything is actually happening right here. So everything is right here, happening right now, and all around us in expression. Nothing is out of the circumference and the activity of the divine. It's all the same stuff. Didn't Eddie Wilkins Jr. write a song about that? It's all the same stuff. Love that song. We should do that sometime. Anyway, that's my experience with the divine, is that it's right here where I am. And understanding that there's no separation between me and that power and that force is an ongoing process. I remember about, I don't even think it's been a year ago, I have this wonderful spiritual mentor, counselor, whatever we want to call her, and I meet with her once a month. And I was sitting there talking, and I was talking about the divine, and she said, now I want you to listen to your language right now. You are talking as if God is something outside yourself. And I went, what? Me? I couldn't be doing that. And she was right. I was. because it has become so ingrained in us to speak the language of separation, when in reality, I am it. We are it. You are it. It's right here, right now. And to be able to embody and to use and to participate with that power, I have to understand that I'm not separate from it. So if I want to stand on the structure of these basic principles, if I want to use this power and participate with it in a practical way in my life, then I have to renew that understanding, that embodiment of who and what I am every single day. And for me, sometimes it's every single minute or every single moment. I have to remind myself that it's not out there somewhere. It's right here, right where I am. And so I do that. There's this really, I think, brilliant Hindu story about the time when humans first came into existence, when time first started, and they were all gods. All humankind were gods. And they so abused their power that Brahma, the chief god, decided to take it away, to take away their power. And he called a council of all the high gods, and they all were looking to see, where could we hide this divinity so that humankind will never find it? And they went on and on about, let's bury it in the deep center of the earth, or drop it down to the deepest part of the deep, dark ocean, or put it up in the top of the highest peaks where no one will ever find it. And Brahma said, no, those guys, they explore everything. They'll find it somehow or another. No, they decided. They would put it right where we are, right in the center of us. They'll never find it there. And yeah, you can say, that's a cute story. Yeah, I know I'm one with God. But do you really? Do you really know? Every moment, every day, do you really know? Is that how you live your life? Because I know there are moments when my language is still language of separation, when my thoughts and my language is an indication of what I'm really thinking and what I'm really hoping to be true. Is that really all that I do, is know that I am one with God? I know that that is the basic principle of metaphysics, that there is only one life. That life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life now. Am I living it? And for me, I know that last week, thank you for doing the talk last week, Maureen. I heard great reviews. Thank you. I was out with the little ones. I know she talked about the power of decision. And that when we make a decision, commit to that decision, that everything lines up in support of that decision. So I invite you to make a decision today, as this new year begins, to make an intention upon which you can stand with these basic principles of science of mind, that you will know that you are never, ever separate. You are always one with the only power that exists, and that power is life. That power is the green growing tip of your own becoming. And that power creates galaxies and universes. Surely it can create a loving relationship, a radiant, healthy body, an overflowing bank account, and positive, wonderful, creative work in the world. For you, I know it can. I've seen it done. Let's do it together. So, I have a question for you then. How does that look for you? I think I did a bunch of questions. Oh, this was kind of my synopsis. Simply put, one loving intelligence birthing all life, and that life living within it. And nothing is outside the circumference of God. So here's my questions to you. How deeply have you embodied the fundamental principle of oneness? Talk to me. How does it look in your life? How does oneness play out for you in your dailiness, when you do your spiritual practice, when you encounter somebody at the grocery store, when you have an argument with your spouse or your partner? How does oneness look like for you? Do you ever forget? And how do you remember? Anybody want to talk about it? Morgan does.
Well, I'll start off by saying that I have fostered a sort of quirky, playful attunement with the universe through the use of numbers. I'll wake up at 3:33 in the morning. On November 11th, I texted my friends 11:11 at 11:11 on 11:11. So now they text me numbers, just 444, whatever. It's like our little game, and that is my reminder that I am attuned with the universe and the universe talks with me. And also that I am steeped in the goodness that Source gives us. And I have an example of that yesterday. Fabulous time at Bunko yesterday. We just had so much fun. And the dice kept turning up doubles, time after time after time, doubles that didn't help in the Bunko. But it just kept happening. And I said, universe talking. And Connie and I went out to lunch beforehand, and she lost her little pouch that had $500 in it, and discovered it after Bunko. We went to buy a Powerball ticket. Oh my gosh. And no, I left it on the border. And I said immediately, we had such a good time with Claudia, our server. She kept it for you. No, I know someone picked up my pouch and all that money is gone. She went on the border. Claudia had saved it for her. So, more goodness, living in the goodness of the universe and having it show up constantly.
That's so awesome. I do the numbers thing too. I love that. I know. I wake up. I'll look up and it'll be 3:33. And I ask in the morning, part of my spiritual practice, and I got this from Joe Dispenza. I didn't make it up. I ask for Spirit to speak to me. And I'm talking to me. I'm not talking to something out there. I ask Spirit, show me today. Bring me a message today. Show me that you hear me and that I am connected. And I'll always get something. A smile from a child that I just, you connect with, whatever. So anybody have anything else to say? What does it look like, oneness in your life as you move through your world? What does it look like? And how do you see it?
For me, oneness is not doubting myself and knowing I'm worthy when I get into anxiety or when I get into self-doubt or when I get into fear. It's reminding myself that that's not who I am, that I'm special and greater than judgment. I'm greater than assuming that someone is thinking something they're not. And I jump out of that. And what helps me stay present is working with students that I have that are 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, because boy, they are in the moment. And they help me feed off of that, and it keeps me young, and it keeps me joyful, and it also reminds me that I need to align myself with Spirit before I get in interaction with them, so I set that tone with them of joy, of expectation, and for them to see that when I'm, like Marianne Williamson says, once you allow yourself to be open and people see it, then it allows them to also be open. And I have that relationship with my students that helps me.
So how do you, I heard you say that you align with before or in the moment. How do you do that?
I right next to the theater in my classroom is, and it's dark in there, so I go in there and I'll sit quietly and I'll meditate and I'll get myself into a clear place of love, and I'll ask that my day goes smoothly and that I don't react to anything in any way that's not who I truly am, in a place of love.
Oh, that's awesome.
So and it centers me, so I start the day, especially on Wednesdays. That seems to be all the teachers say Wednesdays are the craziest day. I don't know why, but I make sure that I go into the theater and do that. But before I leave the house, I write in the morning, and I meditate to Deepak Chopra.
So you have some strong spiritual practices.
Yes,
That you just,
and I've learned that through coming here the last
awesome.
10 years. I see it work for all of you, you as if you do. And it has. So, thank you.
Wonderful, and I heard something else in your share, a reminder that present moment is where the power is. You know, when we get into worry and start thinking about stuff that oh, I should have done this better, you know, I should have done that better. Forgiveness is a great practice to use there, but often I'll say I give up all hope for a more perfect past, because it's just not going to happen. The only thing that is going to change is my perception of it. And so right here, right now, worry about the future doesn't get me anywhere. Regret about the past, it's right here. Here's the power moment. This is where I want to be. This is who I know I am in this moment, that I am connected. I am standing on the foundation of a greater life than myself, and it is awesome. Anybody else want to share? Jam!
Do you just want me to be loud?
Well, I don't know. Are you still recording or not?
I'm still recording.
Well, then you
I
better
can't get too close to that.
Speak into this. I've been told by my sound person.
Okay, so I know that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, which is great to be a spiritual being, but I'm having this human experience in a 76-year-old automobile called a body. And as I get older, because I'm very active, my body is having conditions, let's put it that way. So recently, the last month I've been having sciatica, or actually my body's been having sciatica. And you know, if you've ever had sciatica, has anyone ever had sciatica here? You know, there's two types. There's the type where it hurts so much that if somebody gives you a gun, you'll use it. The other type, it's just pain, like constant pain. And I had forgotten, even though I'm a practitioner, I had forgotten that if I have this issue, what I need to do is go to Ministry of Prayer and turn it over to them. So 2 or 3 days ago, Leslie will agree, I was down to what, 20% movement? I could barely move. Turn it over to Ministry of Prayer, and within probably 4 or 5 hours, I'm back to about 80%, 90%. I still have pain, body still has pain, but I'm moving around. So,
There you go.
my little thing to you is if you have something going on and you can't fix it yourself, contact Ministry of Prayer.
And sometimes we're just too close. You know, we can't pull ourselves out of the perspective.
Right.
You know, so we need to let somebody else know the truth for us. Because sometimes when we're emotionally involved, we're resonating at the level of pain, or we're resonating at the level of lack, or whatever it is. We need somebody else to raise us up to a higher level or a higher vibration so that we can join them. We'll get in the vicinity of the new idea if somebody else holds it for them. You know, I had a whole bunch of questions, but we can just talk. The next one I said is, does this oneness empower your life? And do you feel that you can use it in your daily life when you have a challenging situation? Jim just gave us a great example of that. And finally I said, how real does your oneness feel to you as you move through your everyday life? Do you always feel connected? And I have another question too. Do you feel that you have a personal relationship with the divine, or does it feel like a principle, or both? That's actually a really good question. I like that one. Let's go with that. Well, how about you? You want to share about this? I know you have a great perspective, so I'm going to let him do it.
Okay, I'm going to call out Robert Brown. It's his fault.
Oh,
He gave the second half of the seminar about, it was about aging, and a lot of what people were talking about was the possibility of loneliness in older age. You know, when your friends die and your family dies and all you're left, and Robert said something very simple. He said, you know, since I've been in this teaching, and he hasn't been in this for long, he got dragged in because he liked the lady who was in it. and yet he got it. And you know what he said? He said, I never feel alone. And that's it. Right there. I never feel alone. Because you expand on that, and the next thing, you never feel bad. And next thing, you always feel good. It's all connected. It's all the same thing. It's all just opening yourself to spirit and feeling good all the blinking time. And that's what it's all about.
time, I love that. What's Holmes says that we are bound because we are first free. And the only power that can free us, I know I'm getting this wrong, is that same power that bound us in the first place. It's all the same power. It's not different. And it just responds because it's impersonal, and it doesn't judge what we're thinking or what we're moving in or feeling into it. It just says, okay, yes. So we have to be aware consciously of what we're thinking, because after several weeks, years, months, minutes of thinking that same thing, our subjective mind says, oh, this is where they live. This is where they want to be. You know, I always go back to that wonderful, I think it was Star Trek scene where this guy was communicating with an otherworldly force, and they kept taking him, it was telepathic, and they were looking at the events of his life, and they kept taking him back to this one event that was traumatic. His wife had died, burned in a fire, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they kept taking him back to this one same event, and he said, no, you don't understand. We're linear beings. This was just one event in my life. And the other worldly entity kept saying, no, this is where you live. Oh, this is where I live. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a great one, right? This is where you live. Because sometimes those traumas and those situations that happen to us become the pattern of our being and our thinking and our feeling, and we live there. But we can change that, because we can change our experience of a past trauma or event. We can change our experience of anything that has happened by telling ourselves the truth now, in this moment, where all the power is. So is there anybody who wants to say anything else? Because my time guy is telling me that we're complete. Marcia is.
Thank you. Sure. I would say for me that my demonstration of oneness is demonstration. So I just bought a new car, and I had set some intentions before I bought that car. I haven't bought a new car in 15 years. So I did some homework online, figured out what I wanted to pay for it below the sticker price. I wanted to have a sales consultant that would basically walk me through the new features and be there for me, and that was going to be, my buying the car would be contingent on the sales consultant, basically. So I went to a couple dealerships, did care for the sales consultant, but I got a good quote. And then I went to the dealership that I wanted to go to, and the sales consultant was right there. He was fabulous. He was appropriate, he was knowledgeable, he was informative, he was friendly, he was positive, and it made the buying experience totally painless. So, I gave him the quote that I got from another dealership, and I said, I don't want to pay anything more than this. He says, you got a deal, and it was like $200 even below that quote. So I feel like once I determine what it is that I want and need, and I do the legwork and do the homework, and then it's demonstrated in my environment, that connects me to that oneness. And this has happened numerous times with healings, with experiences and so forth. So I think that outside demonstration, manifestation is very prominent encouraging me to have more faith even when it's not being demonstrated at the moment, because it's already been demonstrated in the past. So, awesome. Yeah.
So it validates for you that you know that it works. That if you keep the faith, feel as if the thing has happened, and you make the decision, you commit to the decision, everything lines up to demonstrate that in your life. Yes. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. We don't have the school coming in afterwards, so if we go long, we go long.
So as I listened to the signs of mind, I'm reminded that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And my thoughts have brought me there. And some have been good, and some of them not so good. But I'm here. And I have a saying on my mirror that I see every day that says, instead of being upset about what could be, enjoy what is. And what is, that's the hard part, because it seems like some of the thoughts that have brought me here are just chiseled in stone. And so we have the thoughts of think positive, think this. This is the year of smoothing that out.
Love it. 2020 spiritual vision.
2020 vision, yes.
What's that line that Abraham Hicks says? I am satisfied with everything in my life, but there are a limitless number of things yet to satisfy me. I love that. Is that great? All right. Anybody else want to contribute? Leslie, Dylan?
My oneness comes in the form of personal conversations I have with God. And I teach classes out of the house as well as here from time to time. And when I run out of material or direction, I say, okay, God, I need some direction here. I need to know what to do next. And then I shut up and listen and know that I may not have the answer, but the higher power does. And recently I did this, and I get the emails from Agape Center. And there was a class that was being given, a master class by Michael Beckwith. So I took it. And the person that was the interviewer of Michael for this class turned out to be a powerhouse. And I will be teaching a class on the 25th here on a 6-point, 10 to 15 meditation process for those who feel they don't have 45 minutes to do meditation with.
Awesome. I think it's actually the 26th, right? Yeah. I think I put it, January. I think I put it in the bulletin. So awesome. Thank you. All right. So how about we pray?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's take in a nice deep centering breath. Oh, all there is God. God is all that exists, everywhere present, right where you are. It is wise, it is beautiful, it is bountiful, it is bold, it is quiet, it is soft, and it is just grand. It is so contributory to everything that we are. It is who we are. It is creative, it is rich, it is beautiful, it is now, it is us. So I speak my word for and about each and every person that is present here in this room, and each and every person that is not. I speak my word for our beautiful country. I speak my word for our planet, for the world, for every life that exists in the grand universe of the all that is the thing itself. And I know that there is a shift in consciousness right here, right now, that is only love. That there is a flow of love moving through each of us, all life that we say yes to. We open up even more fully in deep gratitude because we know that gratitude is expansive, it is creative, it moves us into the greater vicinity of love and all that Spirit God, the all that is, has to offer for us, which is everything. There is nothing that is not offered. And it is up to us to say yes to whatever it is that we wish to experience. And right here, right now, I know for all of us that we experience love in all of its many facets, in all of its many blessings, in all of the different avenues of expression of life that we have come here to live. We experience love. God, the all that is. Thank you, God, for this wonder, this life, this majesty, this mystery, this known and this unknown, for all is well right where we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I release this into the capable hands of law, and I just let Spirit do Spirit's work. And together we signify our agreement by saying, and so it is.